You're listening to Body Confident Friday, the place to be for tools, strategies, and perspectives to help you feel more comfortable and confident in your body. I'm Judy Craddock, the Body Confidence Coach, author of the Little Book of Body Confidence, and creator of the Body Confidence Journey, the coaching program for women who want to stop chasing the perfect body and embrace the one that they are in. Welcome to the show. Today I want to talk about intuitive eating, what it is and how it can help to heal your relationship with not only food but your body. Because so often when I work with a client, she has got a difficult relationship with food because after years of dieting, she's not in touch with her own hunger and she just feels that she can't trust herself around food. And in some cases, the motivation to start dieting was triggered by dissatisfaction with body weight or shape. But this isn't always the case because other times, controlling and restricting food in the form of a diet can really start as a coping strategy for dealing with difficult circumstances or emotions. And it's that then can turn into an obsession with your body weight or shape. But either way, there's no doubt that there is a relationship between the way that you perceive your body and the way that you relate to food. And it's often difficult to separate one from the other. So if you're struggling with the way that you feel about your body and you wouldn't describe your relationship with food as peaceful or easy, how might intuitive eating help you? Well, if you find yourself doing any of the following things that I'm about to describe to you, intuitive eating can help. So see if any of these sound familiar. So, do you demonize and avoid certain foods or whole food groups? Do you feel the need to earn or burn your food? Do you deny your hunger and try to control it? Do you fear going out to eat because you just don't know what foods are going to be available when you go out? Do you not eat in front of other people because you fear them judging your food choices? Are you unable to notice when you're hungry or full? Do you just not trust yourself around food? Do you tend to binge on forbidden or off-limit foods? Do you never eat unless you have weighed or measured your foods in some way? Do you tend to focus on losing weight and being thin rather than thinking about whether what you're doing is healthy? And finally, do you find that you are very judgmental of other people's food choices? So if any or all of those resonate with you, I think that you will benefit from learning about intuitive eating. So let me tell you what it's all about. So quite simply, my understanding of intuitive eating is that it is our natural way of eating. And this is the way of eating that we were all born with. It's a default setting, if you like. So if you think about, we all have a mobile phone, it has like a factory default. It's a bit like that. And what intuitive eating means is really listening to your body's internal cues and trusting it to regulate your nutritional needs. So it specifically means things like responding to your hunger, so eating when you notice that your body is telling you it's hungry, stopping when you feel fully satisfied, but also eating for pleasure as well as just to satisfy your hunger, and having unconditional permission to eat. So there are no food restrictions, there are no forbidden or bad foods. And it's really important to emphasize that intuitive eating is not a diet. And in fact, to my way of thinking, if diets didn't exist in the first place, I don't believe that we'd be talking about intuitive eating at all, because we'd all automatically be eating in this way, which is the default way that we were born with. But of course, intuitive eating really flies in the face and goes against everything that diet culture has taught us, that we need to fear and control our hunger and to restrict the foods that are considered bad. But it's this restriction and control that is fueling disordered eating and eating disorders. And intuitive eating offers a route to greater peace and ease around food and also in our bodies. And there are many other benefits to intuitive eating too. So research that has looked at the difference between people who diet and intuitive eaters has found that intuitive eaters have a lower rate of disordered eating and eating disorders, lower rates of depression, less food-related anxiety, less likelihood of feeling out of control around food, and lower levels of body dissatisfaction and shame. So intuitive eating clearly has benefits for your physical and mental health, which of course includes the way that you feel about your body. And in the next episode of Body Confident Friday, which is episode 191, I'm going to be taking a closer look at the main principles of intuitive eating. But in the meantime, if you want to take a deeper dive into this topic, I've got a few resources to recommend to you by intuitive eating experts. So first of all is the book Intuitive Eating, a Revolutionary Anti-Diet Approach. And this book is by, if you like, the founding mothers of intuitive eating, Evelyn Tribole and Elise Reich. And I hope I've said those names correctly. Apologies if I haven't. I'd also recommend to you the book Anti-Diet by Christy Harrison. And Christy also has an amazing podcast and an introduction to intuitive eating course. And you can access all these resources from Christy on her website at christyharrison.com. I'll also put all the links to those resources in the comments below wherever you are watching. Now, before I finish up this episode, just a little disclaimer from me. I'm not an expert in intuitive eating, nor am I qualified to help people with a clinically diagnosed eating disorder. What I've shared with you today is purely for educational purposes, and it's not a substitute for therapy or a clinical diagnosis. And if you suspect that you may have an eating disorder, I'd recommend that you speak to your doctor, or you can get in touch with an eating disorder charity or support organisation in your country. And I've included some links to some of the charities that I'm aware of in the UK, US and Australia below wherever you are listening. Now, I would like to close out this episode with a few questions just to help you reflect on what I have covered in this episode. So first of all, I'd like you to think about how you would describe your relationship with food. Do you think it's kind of a healthy, peaceful relationship, or would you describe it as difficult and maybe a bit disordered? Secondly, what impact, if any, do you think this has on the way that you feel about your body? So if you have a difficult relationship with food, do you think that influences the way you feel about your body? Or do you think maybe the way you feel about your body influences your relationship with food? Just make a note of that. And then finally, on your body acceptance journey, what do you think is your next best step towards healing your relationship with your body and or food? And I would love to see your answers to these, so please drop them into the comments below wherever you are listening. That's all I've got for this episode of Body Confident Friday. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to catch you next time.